Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hope you're doing well, because today we've got a huge update to talk about in Apex Legends. And it's one of those patches where there's so much going on that if you blink, you might miss something. Update 2.94 just dropped, and it's tied to the brand new Wild Iron event, and honestly, there's a ton of content here. From a new mythic weapon to fresh cosmetics, crazy balance changes, event challenges, new crafting perks, and some ranked system tweaks that are definitely going to stir up conversation in the community. So let's just hang out and walk through everything that's in this update, because if you're someone who loves playing Apex every day, or even if you're more casual and just want to know what's new before you jump in, this update has something for you. The big highlight right at the start is the Wild Iron event itself, running from September 16th to September 30th. So this event is bringing something completely wild, no pun intended, and that's the mythic version of the Flatline. For years, the Flatline has been a staple weapon in Apex, super reliable, strong mid-range. It's always been a favorite in both pubs and ranked. And now Respawn is giving it a mythic treatment with effects that completely change how it plays. When you knock an enemy with this Mythic Flatline, they don't just go down quietly, they actually turn into a time bomb. That means you've got this explosive threat sitting on the floor. And if the rest of their team isn't careful, that knock can set off chain reactions. On top of that, every fifth shot deals double damage and causes an area of effect blast, which adds this extra layer of strategy where you're counting your bullets, lining up those big moments, and trying to maximize damage output. It's kind of like the Flatline you've always known, but with this insane extra layer that makes it feel mythic, something that can swing fights if used right. And that's not even the only wild addition. Explosive loot is part of the event, and the one that's standing out is the EPG-1 grenade launcher showing up in mythic loot bins. This is one of those weapons that instantly changes how you think about pushing squads or holding areas, because it brings an entirely new flavor of damage. And if you're someone who loves bows, you'll be happy to hear the bow check is spawning more often now, so you'll have more chances to grab it and take advantage of its unique playstyle. Another big piece of the Wild Iron event is something called wildcards. These are new craftable upgrades in the Replicator, and they really spice up how a match can play out, because they're essentially bonus perks or abilities that give you tactical edges in fights. For example, one of them is called Crackerjack, which gives you an instant reload when you knock someone. That's massive in close quarters situations where reloading could mean for life or death. Another one, Down Bad, makes knocked enemies explode, and you can imagine how hilarious and devastating that is in third-party scenarios where a team thinks they've got the numbers, but then suddenly one knock sets off a chain of explosions. And then there's Shields Up, which grants you an epic body shield, and that can completely flip your survivability mid-game if you manage to craft it. It's almost like Respawn is leaning into this idea of Apex being unpredictable, chaotic, and rewarding players who take risks and play aggressively. Now, of course, it wouldn't be an Apex event without cosmetics, and Wild Iron delivers plenty. We're talking legendary skins for Lifeline, Pathfinder, and Vantage, as well as some new looks for weapons like the Mastiff, the Bowtech, and the Nemesis. If you're someone who likes collecting skins, these are going to catch your eye. On top of that, there are event packs, and each of these guarantees at least one Wild Iron item, plus 2 standard items. Daily challenges tied to the event too, giving out cores you can spend in the event reward shop, and that shop rotates its offerings, so you'll want to check in regularly to see what's available. There are even event-exclusive badges you can earn just by participating, which is always a nice touch if you're someone who likes flexing event history on your banner. But okay, let's move away from cosmetics and talk about gameplay balance, because this update makes some pretty significant changes to Legends. Ashe is one of the big ones here. Her passive dash cooldown has been increased from 8 seconds to 12 seconds, which might not sound like a lot on paper, but in the middle of a fight, that's a huge difference. It makes her less slippery, forces you to think more carefully about when to engage or escape. Her arc snare has also been adjusted so it breaks more easily, and its duration is shorter, which tones down how oppressive it could feel when you were on the receiving end. On top of that, some of her upgrade paths have been reworked. For example, there's an option now for longer reach, which extends her tactical distance and changes around her ultimate cooldown to make you choose between raw damage and mobility. Essentially, Respawn is trying to keep her identity as a high-aggression legend intact, but give opponents more counterplay and make her players think more tactically. Maggie also got some love in this update, and if you're a Maggie main, you're probably going to like this. Her riot drill fires faster now, making it more reliable at pushing enemies out of cover. And her Wrecking Ball ultimate has been polished up in a lot of ways. It's easier to throw, so you're less likely to have it awkwardly bounce off a wall and go nowhere. The explosions it causes deal more damage, and the speed pads it leaves behind give stronger buffs, so your whole squad can rush in more effectively. Maggie's always been this legend designed around chaotic aggression, and these buffs make her more consistent at actually pulling off those big plays. Seer's another legend that's been adjusted, and it's clear Respawn is still trying to find the sweet spot for him. His passive long view upgrade is now permanent, which means he can hold that scouting utility throughout the game instead of it feeling like an optional extra. His tactical scan has been tuned, with changes to how long it reveals enemies, how much it slows them, and how often you can throw it out. His ultimate also got a quality of life overhaul. It covers a bigger area, has better indicators for teammates, and generally feels more impactful without being overwhelming. This should make Seer feel rewarding for players who invest in his playstyle, while giving enemies clearer ways to deal with him. Then there's Sparrow, who's newer to the roster, but already getting tweaks. Her tracker dart now tracks enemies for a slightly shorter time, which reins in how strong she could be at keeping tabs on people across fights. Her Stinger Bolt ultimate also got rebalanced, with its health being lowered so it's not as tanky, and it now slows Sparrow and her allies a bit when it's active. That introduces more risk-reward into using it, forcing you to position better rather than just dropping it and pushing without thinking. Of course, balance isn't just about legends, it's about weapons too, and update 2.94 touches on those as well. The gold magazine now takes a bit longer to reload when stowed, which balances out how strong it was as a free reload mechanic. Hop-ups and attachments have been shifted around, changing which guns can get which mods, which means you'll need to rethink your loadout slightly. The Bolsec bow charges faster now, making it smoother and more threatening in skilled hands. The Peacekeeper's choke pattern has been adjusted, so you'll notice differences in how tight your spread is at range. The Wingman, a weapon that always sparks debate, got a bump in damage and adjustments to headshot multipliers, so it'll feel nastier in the right hands, but not as overbearing as it was in its most dominant eras. One of the biggest changes, though, is to ranked. Respawn has officially removed the entry cost from ranked matches, which is a big shift in how ladder progression works. For a long time, ranked points were this balancing act between the cost of playing and the reward of winning or placing well. By removing the entry cost, the game is leaning into pure performance. If you do well, you gain. If you do poorly, you don't lose as much by default. This is going to make ranked feel way more approachable to casual players who might have been scared of losing progress, but it also shifts the way higher level players approach grinding, since now it's all about consistency and fight efficiency. It's a controversial change, no doubt, but one that could breathe some fresh life into the ranked ladder. And we can't forget about stability and server updates, because those are often just as important as balance tweaks. This patch brings improvements through something called Steam Datagram Relay, or SDR, which is aimed at making matches more stable and reducing denial of service attacks. Respawn claims it's cut down those attacks by around 90% in diamond and above ranked matches, which is huge because high-tier competitive games being ruined by server attacks has been a frustrating problem for a while. If this system keeps working as intended, it's going to make the competitive experience a lot healthier and more fair. So when you take everything together, the Mythic Flatline with its explosive mechanics, the new wildcards you can craft, the explosive loot pool additions, all the new skins and cosmetics, the legend rebalances, the weapon tweaks, the rank changes, and the server upgrades, you've got one of the most packed updates Apex has seen in recent months. It's an update that clearly tries to give everyone something, whether you're here for fresh cosmetics, gameplay balance, or new event mechanics that make matches feel unpredictable and fun. And honestly, as I'm looking at all of this, it really feels like Respawn is experimenting again.